Ethics complaints coming from Democrats.
Wait to hear who's complaining.
This is a fascinating story we're going to get to at 7 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, November 20th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. Speaking of Thursday, the 20th, Bill, today at 5 o'clock I'll be at the Colorado School of Mines.
Oh, what are you doing?
With Turning Point USA.
Oh, okay.
So hanging out with my friends, the cool kids at Colorado School of Mines. These are the wicked smart kids.
Yeah, they all the math kids. That's what it is. All the math and engineering kids. Yeah, super smart.
And we're going to be talking about the top 10 dumbest policies in Colorado.
Yeah,
because we're surrounded by clowns and jokers, baby.
At one point, I had some aspirations to go to mines until I figured out how much math was required. Because the geology is something that really scratches an itch. I love me some geology.
Think about where you could have been, Bill.
Oh, it could have been in a giant hole looking at rocks. I bet a lot of people listening to the show would be much happier with that life choice.
Well done. Well done. But I'm looking forward to it. You're welcome to join us. I'll throw it up on x.com/Jeff Hunt if you want to swing by. 5 to 6 p.m. Colorado School of Mines, Turning Point USA. And then, look, they're being intimidated. Some of the other students intimidating the Turning Point kids. They're not backing down. I'm not backing down. Plus, we're going to have fun. Colorado's come up with really stupid laws recently. We're going to cover those. Laugh a lot, because if you couldn't laugh, we'd all go insane in this state. So if you want to come out for a fun time, make fun of the progressives destroying the state, talk about socialism and what we can do moving forward, come join us tonight, Colorado School of Mines, 5 o'clock. Would love to see you. All right, now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Good morning. It is Thursday, 38 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 52 today, 45% chance of some rain in parts of the metro area. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story just a few minutes ago, expert surprised on CNBC.
Here we go. This is the September jobs report. Non-farm payrolls are up a robust 119,000. 119,000 would be the best since April, when we were up 158,000. In the rearview mirror, well, last month was downgraded from 22,000 to minus 4,000. Now, if we look at what's going on with the unemployment rate, it ticked up from 4.3 to 4.4. That was unexpected. 4.4 would, last time we were at that level, boy, I have to go back a ways. October of 2021 when it was.
So they're a little shocked. It was a delayed report because of the Schumer shutdown. So actually things looking good so far from what we know. Let's see. What do I have here? Okay, here we go. Federal authorities have indicted 15 people, including the alleged leader of a drug trafficking organization, following Colorado's largest meth seizure. David Oleski, DEA Rocky Mountain Field Division, says more than 1,100 pounds of meth were taken off the streets after a 2-year investigation.
The quantities of methamphetamine trafficked and seized from this organization are one for the record books.
And the DEA,
I love hearing his voice,
isn't that
man.
awesome? He's like a household voice now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Especially
Good morning,
for our voices.
Colorado. The DEA is keeping you safer. We have busted this guy today.
That's
awesome.
right. Who's coming up next? Love it. The DEA, the FBI, ICE, and other agencies targeted a Denver-based drug trafficking organization tied to Mexican cartels. Major busts were made in Vail, Lakewood, Arvada, and along Colorado highways. Agents seized meth hidden in homes, boxes of squash, and on buses, along with cash, firearms, and vehicles. 11 suspects are in federal custody, while 4 believed to be in Mexico, and all face potential decades in prison. The alleged leader, Marco Antonio de Silva Lara, is being charged as a drug kingpin, which carries a mandatory 20-year minimum sentence. It was a multi-step approach. U.S. Attorney Peter McNeely.
The culmination of an investigation that targeted a large methamphetamine trafficking network, which touched several communities here in Colorado and reached all the way into Mexico.
All right, DJT has signed the bill ordering the release of the Epstein files. The bill requires the DOJ to release all of its investigative information on Epstein within 30 days. Funeral services will be held this morning for former VP Dick Cheney. It's scheduled to begin in a few hours at the Washington National Cathedral. All of the living presidents expected to be in attendance except for 47. He was not invited to speak. 47 says he's meeting with New York Mayor-elect Kami Dani tomorrow. Moron asked for the meeting, which will take place at the Oval Office. And Florida Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick indicted for ripping off $5 million in FEMA money, and leaders hope to expel her from Congress very soon. Insider stock trading in D.C. Tim Burchett once again from Tennessee, and the committee exposing more corruption in Congress.
This body has been enriching itself on the taxpayers' dime for too dadgum long, and it's got to stop. This place is crooked, and is as crooked as a dog's leg. That's an old East Tennessee saying, but it's the truth, and it needs to stop. America knows what's going on. We're in committee meetings. We hear things before y'all do. We can make those connections. When you see a member of this body making 400, 500, 600 trades a year, you know something's wrong. Everybody ought to do like I do. I got my buddy Tommy Siler who invested in my mutual fund. I ended up having to cash it out because my daughter's going to school. I'm not a wealthy man. But look, this thing is broken, and it needs to be fixed. And this is the right avenue to do it.
Great work, and it's bipartisan, but Burchett knows it won't get anywhere because the Senate will derail it. Total scam, and it's horrific. Peace, and speaking of horrific, peace in the Middle East. Don't hold your breath.
Local authorities in Gaza are reporting further deadly Israeli strikes in Khan Yunis as an outbreak of violence that began on Wednesday continues. At least 28 people were killed, including 9 children, in Israeli airstrikes that targeted Khan Yunis as well as the Zaytun and Shijaya neighborhoods of Gaza City on Wednesday. The attacks came after the Israeli military said Hamas violated the ceasefire by firing on soldiers in the Khan Yunis area. No soldiers were injured in the attack that allegedly occurred inside Israeli military-controlled territory. Hamas called the Gaza airstrikes a dangerous escalation. Blake Sifton, Tel Aviv.
Wow, it just never ends. Nikki Haley's son, Nayland, he's nothing like his mother, amen. He loves her, of course, but this young man's actually a conservative. Love it. He was on with Tucker last night.
Naturalized citizens should not be able to hold public office. Growing up here is a big part of understanding the country. We need to stop and limit the amount of foreign students that are coming into our universities. Some of them are spies, by the way, for foreign governments. But it's also just we should put our kids first.
Yes, absolutely. Nuggets at
Hold on
New
that
Orleans.
real quick.
Okay.
Well, I guess he was born. I was going to say, was George Washington born in America? I guess he was. Besides, have all of our presidents been born in America?
I don't think George Washington was. That I don't believe. I got.
Yeah, he was born at his family's plantation in
Was he?
Westmoreland County, Virginia.
Okay.
Huh.
All right.
So have
There
all,
you go.
all U.S. presidents been born in America? Anyone? Can you think of any? Yes, all U.S. presidents have been born in the United States.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Maybe
Where
he's
was
onto
Calvin?
something.
Where was Calvin Coolidge born? He's my favorite.
Is he your favorite?
Yeah, Coolidge is my favorite.
Coolidge was born in Vermont. Plymouth, Vermont.
That's right. That's right.
Plymouth Notch, Plymouth, Vermont. Wow.
Just say no, baby. No. No, no, no.
Yeah,
no government.
That's exactly right.
You know, just that's it. We don't need any more. None. All right, let's see. 125-118 Nuggets beat the Pelicans last night, and Jokic with yet another triple-double. And by the way, Shedeur Sanders, Broncos do have the bye week. I keep on forgetting that. I feel like they've had like 13 bye weeks, but this is their bye week. So a lot of people may be watching Shedeur Sanders start. He will start against the Raiders this Sunday. And they're going to be bringing the heat.
Yeah, they will. I've fallen into this group of Browns fans that have a little YouTube channel.
Yes.
And I've been watching some of the things they were saying. And it's been interesting. One of them, they were talking about the idea that over the previous few weeks with Dylan Gabriel, not a single one of them said there was a play where they looked and went, oh, there's something that can be an NFL starter, because they said that every NFL starter has to be a little bit special. You know, it can't just be a run-of-the-mill.
True.
It does mean that even the average guys have to be able to make the great throws and then do something magical just because of what the game demands. And they're the top 1% of the players that ever played the game. And they did say that seeing Shedeur, they saw something. They said there was enough little spark, and what they saw was the downfield throws, the aggression, and that's what they, as fans, had been thirsting for out of their offense. Now, this was the thing that shocked me the most, though, is they said there is some conversation in the media, because evidently these guys have some friends in the media somewhere, that that behind the scenes, two things. Behind the scenes, there is a push-pull between the head coach Stefanski and the owner, because it seems like the owner and general manager wants Shedeur and Stefanski doesn't. And they kind of said that, yeah, there have been some stuff that's why they probably moved Flacco to force the hand. But they did say that currently, behind the scenes, observers that have been there when the press is not around have said the best looking quarterback in a Browns uniform during practice is, wait for it, Deshaun Watson.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but that scares me. Is they were sitting there going, would they? I mean, how bad do you want to win versus that? And they were saying that, that's the problem that some of the coaches behind the scenes are saying is when you're looking at it, even though Deshaun may not be 100% healthy yet, that he makes the NFL throws. He makes the NFL reads compared to the rest of them right now. Yeah.
Yeah, there is no question. Physically and everything that you need in a quarterback, he has it.
Yes.
But once again, it's funny because both those guys, it's all about the off-field stuff. If Shedeur, for example, if he cut out all the fat, who knows? He may become a great NFL quarterback. But all the garbage surrounding him is what may prevent him from becoming, a quality quarterback.
Yeah.
And then we all know about Watson. Well, a lot of people do.
Yeah, a lot. So yeah.
Just they're going to have to, destroy all the massage parlors in the United States for him.
Nicely done.
Fantastic. Thank you. To become a great, but man, he has everything. Plus, he has a strong arm and feet and everything, athletic, and it's all about what happens off the field. So maybe he's turned it around. So you're right, though. I think a lot of Browns fans really anticipating that. We'll see what happens this weekend with Shedeur.
And it was a funny conversation with them. Like, do we actually go with the dude that is so awful as a human being just because he might help us win games. It was a really interesting conversation. And again, because coming from Browns fans, so you already understand. Yeah, so it was really interesting.
If it means wins, yes.
Exactly. That's the thing. Oh, thank you so much.
It's horrible.
Man.
37. Thank you. 37 in Aurora, 35 in Broomfield, 38 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Billy.
There you go. There you go.
Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
A pleasant, mild day on this Wednesday. Temperatures in Denver will reach the low to mid-60s, a mix of high clouds and sun, 30s tonight. Increasingly cloudy, cooler Thursday, highs lower 50s early in the day, turning colder later on with developing showers. Areas of rain and snow mix developing Thursday night, continuing into the day Friday, and cooler. 30s Thursday night, temperatures on Friday only making the 40s. There'll be accumulating snow in the higher elevations and foothills. Temperatures will remain cool, but conditions dry for the weekend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Well, we're used to seeing spicy debates between the Republicans. Democrats have their battles behind closed doors, but it's starting to spill out. And I'm hearing lots of rumors that things are getting real nasty between the Democrats down at the Colorado State Capitol. And you're seeing it play out in these ethics investigations. All right, here's the headline from the Denver Post. Colorado Ethics Commission votes to investigate complaints against 17 state lawmakers. Colorado Ethics Commission voted unanimously Tuesday to advance 17 complaints against a group of state lawmakers, nearly all of whom attended a private Vail retreat funded in part by a dark money group. When you hear dark money group, just know that means that they don't disclose who their donors are. It's not actually like money from the Death Star or anything like that.
Which would be more cool, honestly. Much more cool.
The Independent Ethics Commission determined that the complaints were non-frivolous. A first step in the ethics process that means the complaints will advance and be investigated further. The commission discussed the complaints, which are confidential, in closed-doors deliberations, and then voted to advance them in a block. They otherwise provided no comment on the complaints or their deliberations. The vote came after negotiations to pull back the complaints, urged on by the head of the Colorado Democratic Party, Shad is his name, failed to reach an agreement. And the commission's decision to now investigate the allegations sparked warring statements on Tuesday between the state Democratic Party, which defended the caucus leaders and criticized the group that filed the complaints, and critics of the caucus, one of whom called the state party chair shockingly two-faced. The complaints were filed by Colorado Common Cause, a government watchdog group, earlier this month. The group alleged that members of the Legislative Opportunity Caucus, now these are moderate Democrats, okay, that are members of the Opportunity Caucus. It's been claimed that they violated a state ban on receiving gifts when they attended a private October retreat in Vail, the hotel rooms for which were paid for by One Main Street, a prominent political group that doesn't disclose its donors. In its complaints, Common Cause, which is more progressive, okay, so they're the ones filing the complaints, the kind of DSA, this worker families party, the socialists, asked the ethics board to weigh whether the lawmakers violated the gift ban, and the group proposed penalties that included fines, a more extensive investigation, and the equivalent of a public reprimand. The group's executive director praised the decision in a statement Tuesday afternoon. Most importantly, this decision affirms the power of the Independent Ethics Commission as an avenue for public transparency and accountability that can act when public officials need to be held accountable. No one is above the law. We hear that all the time. Or the state constitution. The trust the public places in our leaders when we elect them to office is sacred and not to be taken lightly. But Senator Lindsay Daugherty, goodness.
Sure, we'll go with that one. Why not?
An Arvada Democrat.
I love. Okay, on a side note, I love when I do that. I love when I do that. I forget. I pre-read some of the stuff on bar trivia.
Yeah.
And sometimes I forget the words coming up, and I'm like, and it's gonna. Oh crap.
Yeah.
Like, it helps and pops up, and you're like, oh no.
Okay. All right. An Arvada Democrat and the chair of the Opportunity Caucus. So she's the one in charge of all these little lawmakers, these 17 that went up to Vail. Sharply criticized Common Cause in a statement from the caucus Tuesday afternoon. The caucus called the ethics complaints factually inaccurate, and the lawmakers accused Common Cause of trying to smear legislators and raise money off the ethics process. This is a grotesque, intentionally orchestrated miscarriage of justice, Lindsay said. She likened Common Cause to President Donald Trump for attacking Democrats and said Coloradans should reject their efforts to score cheap political points. Now, pulled into all this is Shad, who's the chair of the Democrat Party. So he's got these warring factions taking place within the Colorado Democrats. He defended Lindsay, and he referred to Common Cause as a dark money group. So not just the people going to Vail that are part of a dark money group. No. The people bringing the ethics violations. They're also a dark money group.
Let them fight.
Opportunity Caucus has taken good faith steps to address this situation. Did you hear about this? By making a $25,000 donation to the food bank of the Rockies.
Yeah. I don't understand that. We're sorry. Here's a donation to food banks. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. Oh, this is a mess. This is a mess in part because of the idea that we have, through some laws and legal rulings and stuff, we've allowed the idea of dark money, that we don't want to be able to identify who these people are, where it's donating, or where the money's coming from. And it's ridiculous. Although I think it's very interesting based on the infighting. Now, again, I am being only about half facetious, and you will not appreciate this at all, Jeff. I'm just warning you. But, this group, they could have just asked for private donations and just taken private donations to do what they wanted. And that could have, paid for the trip to Vail, or built a ballroom, or a extra wing on a governor's mansion, or you know where I'm going with this. I'm just saying that, we're talking about money being spent in certain areas. But I do find it interesting that it is the more liberal side of the Democrat in Colorado going after what is the more moderates.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about that? Because you're the political strategist person here.
This is the big undercurrent story.
Yeah. So tell me.
Because I'm hearing it all over right now, that there is serious debate, battles, backstabbing taking place, not between Republicans and Democrats, between socialists and the moderate Dems. So you're seeing this start to play out in these ethics charges, right? But this upcoming legislative session, I'm telling you what I'm hearing from my sources, is that there's going to be a serious effort by the Democrat Socialists of America and by the Working Families Party, which are essentially communists, to essentially rid the Democrat Party of the moderates.
That's interesting you brought that up, because I have been hearing some of the same, but I haven't been hearing it about Colorado politics. I had been hearing it and reading it about national politics, and it was through the lens of Mamdani and the woman that is won in Seattle, that the message that they are selling seems to be resonating with younger voters, and that nationally the Democrat Party is having a real serious talk, just like Republicans did a number of years ago, and there are several of those cycles. Republicans, after they got shellacked by Democrats at one point, did talk about how do we appeal to the younger voters. The younger voters are always that group that you want to try to attract, but it's a minefield. they participate at a much lower rate than current voters. However, just like with normal mass marketing, if you can get them to adopt your brand now, the chances of them switching is very minimal. And the idea being, if McDonald's is your favorite fast food place at 18, 19, 21, chances are at 41, it's still going to be your favorite fast food place. You may not go as often, but it's still going to be your favorite. So that brand loyalty is important, but they don't go to vote as often. So what do you think?
Well, we've seen it in Republican circles for a long time. Rhino watch, right? Like if you're not, if you are not conservative enough, you ought to be excised from the Republican Party in itself. The Democrats are doing that now, okay? And they're being led by the DSA and the workers' families parties who believe that Colorado, and you've heard it from Deep Singh Badesha on this program, that Colorado would be so much better if we just unleash the real power of socialism. And the people preventing that are these moderate Democrats. So we need a full, comprehensive, progressive socialist, dare I say communist, takeover of the Democrat Party in order to realize the true power of socialist evolution in Colorado. And this little ethics thing is an example of that. Shad trying, you can see him in his X post, trying to keep both sides together, but I think he's losing control. Colorado, get ready for this. Those moderate Dems, as few of them as there are, there's 17 in this caucus, they're going to start to be primaried. They're going to be forced out. You're going to see lists. And the Democrats are going to get more and more socialist. You see it playing out in the battle between Michael Bennet and Phil Weiser, where it's who can sue the president the most. There's no political consequence right now in Colorado for being as socialist as you could possibly be. You're not going to lose. So they're all running to the hard left, and this is an example of how it's going to play out.
Yeah. Now, I want some of your insight. What do you think this means for the Republican Party in Colorado? Now, I also think that if the more liberal wing of the Democrat Party navigates it properly, I think there could be a way that they could end up forcing out some of the moderate Democrats while still retaining electoral control inside of the state. But it is going to be very, very difficult to walk that line. I think there is some messaging that might be able to work, but I'm not certain that they are disciplined enough or clever enough to handle it, because I have a feeling that they, when given the chance, will continue to push for a socialist, or at least Democrat socialist pipe dream, rather than understanding the realism of what can be done now. But what do you think personally? You're deep inside of that GOP tent. What do you think this means, this Democrat infighting in the state of Colorado? What does it mean for the GOP? Is it an opportunity? And if so, what type of an opportunity does it present?
Not in the immediate future.
Okay, that's fair.
Right, because we're surrounded by socialists in this state. I mean, they love Bernie Sanders, AOC. They want to go all the way down this, and we're stuck in the socialist doom loop as well, where they propose really stupid ideas. They don't work. They spend way too much. You need more money, but God forbid we don't have the state feed every single kid in the state. So I think you're going to see this state get a lot more progressive, a lot more socialist. You're going to see the taxes continue to go up because you see it in the polls right now. People don't like the direction of the state. They don't like the results of the state. And yet they continue to vote for Democrats. And they continue to put socialists in and have bought into this mindset that we haven't really tried socialism. It needs to be embraced more. The Deep Singh, Badesha, DSA, we just need more money. Then it will finally kick off and everything will be great. So, no, everything's going to have to really get bad for people to wake up and go, you know what? Handing everything to the government and expecting them to provide our housing, our food, our education, our health care and realizing they can't do it, well, that just takes experience because they haven't been educated into the benefits of capitalism. They've been educated into the benefits of government redistribution. So, no, I mean, yeah, I'd love for Coloradans to wake up to the impact of what socialism is going to do to the state. But I gave up hope on that a long time ago.
Interesting. See, now, and that I think you laid out some of the landmines that I think the more liberal members of the Democrat Party here in Colorado have to watch, because if they come out with the idea that your housing is going to be subsidized or rent control, and a majority of, higher education and other things subsidized and controlled, I think they're going to run into problems there. I think if they focused on some lower end things like certain access to health care and other things that could help middle class families, I think they've got something, and there at least would be a message. But I believe that if they come out with the laundry list of wishes and hopes that you just outlined, they will fail.
The Mamdani. But, Bill, that makes you in the camp of a moderate Democrat, and you guys are being forced, not you, but
not me.
Modern Democrats are being forced out right now. You're not a true believer enough.
Oh, yeah.
And what could happen if we just had all the money?
Yeah, I know. And I remember here in the state of Colorado that it's like, wait, you're not on the same page with us on some of the social issues, that you can't ever have an R behind your name, ever, ever, ever. You're a rhino only. In fact, we don't even want you helping choose our primaries, and we don't want your vote at all. And we saw how well that has turned out for the Republicans. And that's what I'm wondering, if the Democrats have learned anything, or will they start cannibalizing their own? Because if they start forcing people out of the tent, you're going to end up losing support, especially in the unaffiliated.
I think that's inevitable.
Yeah.
But right now it's not happening, right? It is race to the left as far and as fast as you can. The Michael Bennet, Phil Weiser battle. Who's more progressive? Who's more anti-Trump? Who's real socialist?
Yeah, I'm not sure I get that yet with you, because I want to see where Bennett and Weiser really lay into those socialist planks. The idea that the government programs are going to provide things like all of your employment, all of your housing, all of your fill in the blank. That's what I want to see, rather than looking at shifting some responsibilities, support, and payments. Personally, if I was going to be advising the Democrat Party, I think that the affordability argument is probably their best plank, but I'm not certain they're clever enough to argue it the way that I feel it would resonate with voters. And I feel the message that would resonate with voters would be, look, you're in the middle class, you're doing this, you're struggling, the middle class is going broke. Look, states across the country are going broke. The U.S. going broke. You know who's not going broke? The real rich people. What has changed? And I would have the conversation about what has changed inside the country, that the one demographic group that is growing based on the share of wealth in the country is the rich people. And then we wonder at times why other segments of the society are going broke when we shift the percentage of the wealth accumulated in this country into one demographic. What do we think the implications are going to be? If you start there, I think you've got a message that can resonate across the board, but I don't think they're clever enough in order to navigate that type of a message, because it can't be full on socialist. The government takes care of everything. It's the idea that right now the deck is simply stacked against you based on affordability, and you have to wonder why your family, your demographic is going broke, why the state is going broke, yet we've got this one pile of people that seem to be doing better than ever. What has changed? You have that conversation, you might have something there.
But that's what Michael Bennet walked right into the other day, and everyone was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" He goes, "It's so expensive to live in Colorado. It's so difficult." And everyone's like, "Hello? You Democrats have had control for 10 years. For nearly a decade at this point. You've been the U.S. Senator. Like, what have you done, bro?" And at one point, Bill, I genuinely believe that the voters of Colorado would go, golly, the path we're on sucks. Yeah. Everything is more expensive. Everything is getting worse. We're getting taxed. Fees are up 3,000%. We've definitely got to change course. And then they go, you know who we really need is Bernie Sanders. So I have no hope.
Yeah,
in our voters.
The thing for me is this: is I look at it because it is a binary choice inside of our elections. That if the voter is, for the example, and it's a really bad analogy, is opening up the refrigerator and taking out that jug of Democrat milk and tasting it and going, oh God, this is sour, and then the opportunity is to drink the jug of the Republican milk, and they flat out reject that, I think if you're making the Republican milk, you got to ask what you're doing. Yes, you should be asking why the Democrat milk is souring, but if the other choice that is on the shelf is more repugnant and more refused by the average consumer, and I'm using that as a voter in the state, then you have to ask what you're making inside of that milk. And that does mean, are you at a point where your product is not marketable to what the state is? And I mean that because the brand of candidate that the Democrats ran in New York City is different than what they ran in New Jersey. They're not the same type of candidate. And usually the Democrats are very poor at strategically picking a candidate for the right community. And that's the question I have, is the Republican Party picking the right candidate for the community? There has to be some self-reflection there, because the reason I think this is so important is the Democrats are giving you an opportunity. You have some public sentiment. You have Democrat infighting. When your Sung Soo, when your opponent is fighting in themselves, let them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But Bill, you've got Republican candidates across the board that are different. You got Danielle Jurinsky, who's going to take it to the streets, right? She's going to fight. And then you had Robin Carnes, who's like literally the nicest lady you could imagine, walking around. She walked 500 miles and knocked door after door after door. Totally different types of brands. What was common? Both lost.
Yeah, those are ones.
So I mean, I don't get it. I don't like what's the brand change that you want?
Those are ones, and I like that you brought those up. Those are ones that are difficult, and they don't make a lot of sense to me. The Robin Carnes, the Danielle Jurinskys don't make a lot of sense to me. However, if I had to guess, again, I'm not a political strategist, or nor should anybody pay me to be one. But if I had to guess, I'm thinking that some of what hurt Jurinsky is the blowback on immigration enforcement and how that's being done across the country. Is that a fair critique? Because she's not responsible for it. She didn't implement it. She didn't ask for it, any of that stuff. No, it's not. But I have a feeling she got swept up in that. The Robin Carnes one is very, very confusing for me. That's one that I can't really wrap my head around. And I'm curious if it's just a sweep the bums out type of a movement. And if it is, then personally, if something doesn't change, the GOP needs to be really, really scared in the midterms. Because if someone like a Robin Carnes on this lower level gets swept out with a feeling of the Republican brand not being effective or doing something that they don't like, that's a canary in the coal mine for larger elections coming up. I think that would be something that is very worrisome. Just like the Democrats are pointing to the liberal wins here in Aurora as the city council, using that as an example nationally. I've seen a number of people going, look what we can do, look what we can do in this place that had this, these Republican representatives. We were able to turn this. They have a Republican mayor, and look, they view Aurora for them as a canary, saying that we have this opportunity.
Yeah, so I don't think it's the Republican brand. We need to have better candidates. We need to have better messaging, because it didn't matter. You had two very different, distinct types of messaging, types of people. They both lost. So let's go back to the milk example. What you have with the Colorado voter is someone that drinks the Democrat milk and goes, oh, gosh, the direction of the state's terrible. You know what we need? Cottage cheese. We need more curdles. We need to make this thing as thick as possible with the hopes that maybe it'll matter. It's not rational. And where that belief that more government involvement, higher taxes is going to solve things, that comes from an education failure. That's where I see it. All right, let's talk Mountain High Appliance. Discover incredible savings at Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center in Denver. Their clearance center offers a huge selection of ranges, refrigerators, washers, dryers, and more. Save up to 60% on open box, scratch, and dent display models and overstocked appliances from Bosch, Thermador, KitchenAid, and much more. When you're looking for great deals on appliances, think Mountain High Appliance Clearance Center for the best prices and selection. Here's their address, 601 East 64th Avenue in Denver, 601 East 64th Avenue in Denver. Here's the question I'd love to hear. There's a coming civil war with the Democrats. It's popping up with this Colorado Ethics Commission investigation that's taking place. It's a symptom of a much bigger brewing war within the Democrats, where socialists are going to force out, via primaries and attempts at resignations, the moderate Democrats. Are they right to do so? Is that the problem Colorado has? Is that it's too moderate? It should go all in on socialism. That's what some in the party believe. That the problems holding back Colorado are moderate Democrats? Or is this going to be a real problem and set Colorado up to truly, genuinely fail as a state, as it embraces socialism across the board? Give us a call, 303-696-1971. And how do Republicans seize this moment? Can they? 720-819-5115 is the Dan Caplis Law text line. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. A war's brewing within the Democrat Party here in Colorado between the socialists and the moderate Democrats. It's spilling out into these ethics complaints. The Colorado Ethics Commission is investigating 17 state lawmakers. They're part of the Opportunity Caucus. There's more moderate Dems.
Who
Democrat
filed
Party,
the complaints?
What is the name of that?
But they're the libs. They're the super libs. Yeah.
The super libs.
So it's the super libs
Colorado
filing a complaint.
Common Cause.
Yeah. So it's the super libs filing a complaint against the moderate libs. Yeah, that's why this is cool. This is interesting.
Well, and what could have been negotiated behind the scenes hasn't come to fruition, and so as a result, spilling out. And my thesis is that Colorado is full of socialists, in part because of our education system that believes that the government is a compassionate avenue for redistribution of property and services. And so when people go, well, the Republicans never provide a solution, that's because they believe and have bought into the notion that the government is this great moderating, compassionate entity that is going to provide services. You see it with the Democrats celebrating Proposition LL and MM. We feed all the children. The government feeds all the children.
Well, what do you do with a comment from the Lost Jockey that's here on the text messages saying, but with affordability, how do you support capitalism and argue about affordability? Because that's kind of the point. They should be able to charge the highest price possible for whatever product, good, or service you have. So is affordability just the point of the end game of capitalism? And again, if you want to have a name like the Lost Jockey when you text into the show, give us your tag name. We're going through and we are changing them. We don't want to start referring to you as a phone number where the last 4 digits are stupid. So we want to give you your very own moniker. You get to choose it one time in life. You get to choose your nickname. Think of it as your pro wrestling name. We've got the Lost Jockey. We've got the Old School Marm. We've got Faith the History Teacher. Marvin the Meat Hauler. We've got a lot of you in, and some of you are having some fun names. So yeah, throw us in your name when you can. We'll change it in the system. So Lost Jockey. What do you do with that, Jeff? About the idea that that's supposed to be the point?
Well, the point is for some is to for everybody is to accumulate wealth, right? Of course, but when you look at the power of the free market, it actually makes things wildly affordable. Bill, I am drinking a cup of coffee right here. Right?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
This cost our little radio station this one cup of coffee probably cost 30 cents, right?
Yeah, possibly. Yes,
okay.
We're on there. Yeah, it's fair.
There's no reason that this should cost 30 cents.
How much should it cost?
Well, think about it. Where was the coffee brewed or made?
No idea.
Right, the beans.
It's radio station coffee. It could have been made in the basement.
But the beans were grown in someplace far away from here, right? With a farmer who had to take care of land and property and pay taxes and grow the beans, dry the beans. Then they had to put them on a ship and send it across an ocean to get here. We then had to roast these beans. We then had to grind these beans and then put it in and this probably cost 30 cents. 30 cents. It is the beauty of the free market. Another great example is a pencil. Nobody listening to this show could actually make a pencil.
That is correct.
Right? And we pay 20 cents for it? Maybe? I mean, so what capitalism does, what the free market does, is it brings to bear all of these forces that actually provide incredible quality at a cheap price in things that should have never cost that cheap.
Yeah, but that same market system has created a near 100% increase in McDonald's prices over the previous 6 or 7 years. That same system. So there is a win and there's a loss.
And is it always the free market system that does that? Because often what drives up the prices is government intervention. I mean, you would say that on tariffs.
Oh, in some ways, yeah. Yeah, in some ways on that.
So what oftentimes is affecting the price artificially is the government intervention.
Well, here's the thing. Remember when we went through the supply chain issues and we saw those prices going up and it was because of supply chain issues? Yeah. Remember all those? Have we seen those prices come back down largely? In your average, I'm just talking to Jeff and Bill
In
listeners.
some cases,
where? I mean, again,
but
think
Bill,
about it in your large arc of your life. Have you seen the prices return to pre-pandemic levels? The bottom line is no, you haven't. Those increases that happened during the pandemic because of supply chain as we got out of it, those were not refunded. They never went back. That's part of the issue,
Bill,
too.
Free market capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other force in world history. And yet, we want to jump right into socialism because in our schools, the benefits of capitalism was never explored or explained.
Or kids are looking around going, I can't afford a house.
We'll get to this. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is 710 KNUS. Joan, hang on.